has chosen to stay with the city that made him a star, and I'm ecstatic about that. Okay, Giannis has agreed to sign a 5-year, $228 million supermax extension with the Bucks on Tuesday. He announced on Twitter, with the terms being confirmed by agent Alex Saraxis to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The deal includes an opt-out after the fourth year. This is my home. This is my city. Antetokounmpo posted on Twitter, I'm blessed to be able to be a part of the Milwaukee Bucks for the next 5 years. Let's make these years count. The show goes on. Let's get it. Had he passed on the offer, he would have been an unrestricted free agent next summer and the biggest name to hit the market since Kevin Durant in 2016. Antetokounmpo was coming off a career year in which he became just the third player in league history to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, joining Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. He averaged career highs in points, 29.5, rebounds, 13.6, to go along with 5.6 assists per game and a 31.9 player efficiency rating, the highest in the season in NBA history per ESPN stats and information data. One thing I like one caveat I like to add to that though is when Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, when those guys were playing the first couple of years in Kareem's career, I think the first 5 seasons of his career, Nate Thurman's career, they didn't count blocks and steals. So if they counted blocks when Wilt played, he would have the greatest seasons by far with PER, and he would be number one all time in PER, even ahead of Michael Jordan. Just want to put that out there. If they counted steals when Oscar and Jerry were playing, they would have even higher PER ratings. I just want to add that though. Of course, Giannis has been criticized for not being able to get out of the Eastern Conference in the playoffs. You know, um, this is my thing on that. Okay, Giannis is the most dominant player in the league, and he's only 25 years old. Shaq was also the most dominant player in the league during his heyday in the 90s and early 2000s, but people forget, and maybe Shaq too, that initially, until he got the right coach and right team around him, he struggled mightily in the playoffs. Um, he did get to the finals in '95, but every year, for the most part, he got swept out of the playoffs. In '94, his team, Orlando, got swept out of the playoffs in the first round, I think, by the Pacers. In '95, they made it all the way to the NBA Finals, but got swept by the Rockets in the finals. In '96, the Bulls got their revenge for their playoff defeat at the hands of the Magic a year earlier, sweeping the Magic in the conference finals. The next year, in '96, no, excuse me, '97, I believe they lost 4 games to 1 to Utah. And then in '98, they got swept by Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And in '99, they got swept by, was it the Kings uh, or Portland? I always forget what team it was. So, no, they got swept by the Spurs, excuse me, in '99. So Shaq constantly had the same type of criticism, but it wasn't until the team around him, until they got the right team around him with LA. Kobe Bryant, of course, started becoming the Kobe Bryant that we were accustomed to seeing, and they got the right coach. People always point the finger at Giannis, but for some reason they don't look at Mike Budenholzer and his lack of adjustments made in the playoffs, and his really honestly mediocre coaching in the playoffs. They never seem to put any blame toward Mike Budenholzer, but we all know what the situation is with that. Same thing with Gordon Hayward. Same thing is going to be with Luka Doncic. You know, I have a feeling like people like that are going to be treated with kid gloves, while the Giannis's of the world will get all the blame for everything. Look, at the end of the day, I respect what Giannis is doing because He wants to win a championship on his own terms. And, that should be admired. But you got this generation today that think that somehow it's better to win a championship by a mass committee, i.e., a super team, than to look. I'm the type of person I'm like this. I would want to win a title, obviously, but to me, if I lost against your super team and I was able to take your team to 7 games, and it's just me and maybe another All Star player, and we are able to take you to a seventh game, go down to the wire, and I barely lose to you, that says more about my greatness than you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, to put it in a situation where people can understand. Look, all right, look, if I'm taking a test, right? Let's say I'm taking a class, and the class is relatively easy to me. It's not a real challenging subject. I knew it. I took the class because I knew it wasn't going to be challenging to me, and I passed it with flying colors. I don't really get much out of it. It's yeah, it's a great accomplishment, but it's not challenging to me. Um, what is something that you take personal satisfaction and gratification in is if you take a class, an advanced class that's a challenge to you, and you work hard and defy the odds and get a passing grade out of that class, even if you don't dominate, but if you pass a class that you didn't think you could even pass, you have so much more personal fulfillment out of that. That's why LeBron James holds his 2016 championship in such high regards because he wasn't favored in that series by most so-called experts. Okay, they were the perceived underdogs in that series, and they did come back from a deficit that many people thought that they wouldn't be able to come back from. He got so much more personal fulfillment and satisfaction out of being able to come back from that deficit and with a title, and also to win a championship for the city of Cleveland that hadn't won any title with any major sport at that time for 52 years. So, yeah, he gets a lot of satisfaction out of that. The Miami Heat championships, yeah, they meant something. It took the monkey off his back, but the Cleveland one was special. And that's basically what we're trying to say. If Giannis was to go and join up with some super team and win a title, yeah, it would mean something. But to actually win one on your own terms and do it the hard way, the more fulfilling way, it means more. It means so much more. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you go through the grind, the struggle. It means more when you go through the struggle and then you savor victory. That's why a lot of people who grow up in a situation where they come from poverty or they come from an environment where you're told you're not going to be able to do anything with your life, and then you know you defy the odds and you become a winner in life and you become an achiever in life. You get so much more personal satisfaction out of that than these rich ass snob kids who have everything handed to them, and yet somehow they still manage to fuck it up. And they're those type of kids, man, those type of people that need to be on Prozac and they're miserable and you know whatever. A lot of them they don't appreciate what they actually have. That's kind of what I'm talking about. If Giannis was to bring a championship to Milwaukee, it's one of the great accomplishments of a player in history. People talk about nobody want to come to Milwaukee. Nobody want to come to Milwaukee. Look, 12 years ago, nobody wanted to go to Golden State. Now everybody's pushing this guy, or was pushing him to go to Golden State. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Mark Jackson, all those guys, they helped to change the perception of that city, that culture. Golden State was a laughing stock for many, many years, decades. If Giannis can change that perception and make them a winning championship club, that would be so sweet. You know what I'm saying? But tell me what you guys think.